So this was my first time watching this movie. I really don't know why. How to Train Your Dragons, directed by Chris Sanders and Dean DePlois, was also co-written by them and Will Davies, and it's based on the series of novels, or I think just like the one novel, I'm not sure, by Cressida Cowell, and this features the voices of Jay Baruchel, Gerard Butler, America Ferrera, and Craig Ferguson. Now, How to Train Your Dragon is set in this small Viking village where like the culture is hunting and killing dragons. So not really hunting, like they are terrorized by dragons and they fight back by killing dragons. And our main character here is Hiccup, voiced by Jay Baruchel, who is the son of the big gung ho chief. But Hiccup is a scrawny little kid, and he discovers that he really doesn't have it in him to kill dragons. However, one day when he manages to kind of capture a dangerous breed of dragon known as a Night Fury, Hiccup decides that, instead of killing it, he's gonna train it. I'm obviously reviewing this movie just in time for How to Train Your Dragon 2, which comes out here on June 11th. And even before watching this first one, I knew that How to Train Your Dragon was like DreamWorks' biggest franchise kind of thing, even if it's just one movie, because this first movie has a huge fan base and it's been really critically acclaimed. And I gotta say, all that acclaim, it's not for nothing because How to Train Your Dragon is this gorgeous movie with a really, really heartfelt story, I think at least. And I think it's some of DreamWorks' most mature filmmaking since like the first Shrek movie. Okay, first of all, when you talk about DreamWorks animation stuff, it's usually kind of hit or miss for me because usually DreamWorks does environments really, really well. However, the character models sometimes for me come off a bit too cartoony sometimes. Here in How to Train Your Dragon, though, like they have obviously lots of fun with like different kinds of dragon. They do look cartoony at first, but it's interesting how DreamWorks is able to still portray them as menacing even if they do look cartoony. And I really wasn't bothered by the character models of the humans this time around. Like I think it all like really just feels like it's just one style. However, again, DreamWorks really does environments the best, and I think the world they build here in How to Train Your Dragon is fantastic. It looks brilliant. Granted, it's not a very huge world they build. Like it really is just centered on this one village and like the surrounding islands and stuff. But it looks fantastic. And not only do these environments look really great, but this movie really knows how to take you through these environments because probably some of the best parts of this movie are the flight sequences that Hiccup has on the back of this dragon he captures, who he names Toothless. These flight sequences are really just literally breathtaking. You really get to see this world through the eyes of Hiccup and Toothless. Now, How to Train Your Dragon is a really short movie, in my opinion at least. It's like an hour 36 or something like that. But what I love about it is that it doesn't really rush through the running time because there are a lot of animated movies that try to cram in so many jokes and so much story, and even if it's short, it kind of feels like you're dragging through it. But How to Train Your Dragon for me is over too soon because I just loved it, every second of it. In fact, this is actually kind of a slower paced movie compared to other animated films, and I love that. This movie really does take its time to get its point across, especially there's this one part where it kind of moves from dragon training to Hiccup kind of learning what Toothless is all about, and just that juxtaposition of those two sequences I thought was really, really done well. Now, one of the best parts of this movie, again, definitely is this score by John Powell, I think. And the score is a traditional kind of score, like it's kind of like the adventure stuff you're used to hearing, but it's extremely well done. I mean, it's saying a lot when you have music that you've heard before, like so many times, and it feels so new and adventurous, and it really does capture this sense of wonder. And like all great scores, this score is very dynamic. When it has to be dark and scary sometimes, it really, really feels like that. But when, Toothless and Hiccup are just flying through the air, you feel like you're there with them because this music is so soaring and it's so emotional, it's so charged with energy. One of the greatest things about this score is that it really does kind of fill in for the dialogue at points. Like there are certain sequences in this movie that have zero dialogue, and it's just this amazing score in the background that really brings home the point. It tells you the story without saying anything, and that's a fantastic use of score. And I really, really like the story in How to Train Your Dragon because I have no idea if it's anything similar to the book. It's probably not. But I really love how the story that they've written here in this movie, it's a very, very personal plot. It really is focused on Hiccup and him trying to find this place among these Vikings and he's learning that through Toothless. But this personal plot is set against this backdrop of this age-old conflict these Vikings have been having with the dragons, and it's great to see that because you can really tell that there's just so much history with this island and in this town, and it's one guy, Hiccup, just trying to go against all this history. What I love also is that a lot of these characters actually really do have character. They change throughout the movie. They're not static at all. Like Gerard Butler, who plays Stoic the Vast, I think his name is, who is Hiccup's dad. Like he goes through some changes. America Ferrera voices Astrid, and she also goes through some changes. Like it's just great to see that this movie is inhabited by characters who are actually characters. They're not like jokey sidekicks who are there to provide some laughs. And the dialogue here is very witty also, like a lot of great animation movies, but it really also does sell like those supposed cliches. And not bothered by cliches when they're done well, and here they're done really well. Like when something like emotional happens, even if you see it coming, it really hurts because this movie just writes it very well. And in terms of voice acting, everyone does a great job here. Jonah Hill is here, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Gerard Butler. Of course, he's going to be great as this big Viking because this is King Leonidas we're talking about, and of course he's going to sound great. But the best performance here has to be Jay Baruchel. That's a huge surprise. But he really brings Hiccup to life, and he doesn't play him for just a schmuck, and he's not playing Hiccup as a comedic character. Much praise has to be given to the directors here, Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois, who directed Lilo and Stitch previously. And here, like, I really, really love how they, give focus to the animation again. Because my problem with a lot of DreamWorks animation movies is that it seems like they fill up so much of their running time with these stupid jokes or, like all these voices from celebrity actors and stuff. But I love how the directors here really know that this is an animation film, and sometimes you just have to let the animation speak for itself. And again, like I said, there's certain sequences in this movie, like the flight sequences, that are just absolutely breathtaking. It really is just amazing direction for letting these wordless sequences just really hit the audience where they need to be hit. And like I mentioned a while ago, like I really do think this is some of the most mature direction from a DreamWorks movie in a long time. It really doesn't feel like they're trying to cash in or they're trying to get like this huge mainstream audience by casting celebrity actors, by having lots of timely jokes. I only really have a couple of problems with this movie. They're both kind of script related. For one, there's something that Hiccup does during dragon training that comes up later in the movie, and when people realize that he's been doing it, they're like, oh my gosh, he's been doing that. But I really thought they'd kind of notice sooner because it's kind of obvious when he does it. Like, you'll see what I'm talking about. And apart from that, I really, really wish they kind of defined what the dragons were some more because, there's a lot of time spent to talking about, these different types of dragons and stuff. And, we're given impressions of them being like evil or them being like this hive mind kind of thing. And by the end of the movie, we don't really get a definition of what these dragons are like. Like by the end of the movie, it just kind of feels like they're pets meant to be, ridden and, taken control of. But anyway, other than those things, How to Train Your Dragon is a great, great movie. Like, I really don't know why I don't watch these movies sooner. I probably should. And I'm very excited for How to Train Your Dragon 2. It looks fantastic. I really, really hope, they capture the same kind of maturity they did here. I really, really need DreamWorks to make more movies like this. Like, it's great stuff, guys. That's my review of How to Train Your Dragon. Have you guys seen it? I'm sure you have. Whether you hated it or you loved it, whether you agree with me or not about this movie, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.